Always have to double check that we're in the webinar. That's the great thing about this. So welcome to Ignite GOAT Mentality. I am Dr. Karen Walker, your Marine Corps veteran.
And I am Charmin Jacobs, and I am your Navy veteran. And I don't have a flag, but I have a towel. It's National Naval Officers Association.
That's right. That'll
Yeah,
work. That'll work,
yeah.
So tonight we are talking about nurturing a strong work ethic. And the military, that is something that really kind of, I think, teaches us about that strong work ethic. The strong work ethic, it really like demonstrates your commitment, your dedication, your professionalism to your work. So, I mean, how do you define a strong work ethic,
Oh,
Shauna?
wow. Well, I mean, you named a few already, but I mean, I define a strong work ethic about being reliable, responsibility, saying you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And if there, for some strange reason, you need to do a course correction, it's always due to whatever may come up, right? It's easy to overly inform people, right? Overly
Mm,
inform them. But again, the dedication, the commitment, the productivity, right? Also the quality, right? Is coming up in the military, the Navy undesignated. If you didn't clean something good, like you had to go back and clean it again. So I didn't want to touch it twice. So I cleaned it good the first time, right? Because I don't want to be there too long,
right,
right? And this is like doing push-ups, right?
right.
And your professionalism, as well, your demeanor, how you approach people, and again, those ethos, integrity and honesty, right? Like
Yeah,
those ethos, teamwork and cooperation. So those are just a few of how I define my work ethics, is by
yeah.
being able to is saying you're going to do to sum it all up, say you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And if you're not able to do it, say you're not able to do it.
I like that.
Something comes up that prevents you from doing it, please overly inform the person. Communicate.
Yeah. No, I really like how you brought up, kind of doing it right the first time, so you're not having to do it over and over. And I think the military kind of teaches us that a little bit. I mean, so we kind of get the point of really having a strong work ethic and wanting to get it right, so that you're not having to continuously go over and over and over and over because that's just tedious, kind of gets to be a waste of time. And I think when we do retire or leave the military, that's something that veterans have a have short patience for, right? When we go to civilian workforce. So I would say definitely a strong work ethic has that element though of teamwork because you have to be willing to work with other team members in that. And then something you brought up right at the end is not quitting. I think having a strong work ethic is not just giving up because you're not going to be successful probably right off the jump, right? So you have to have that ability to keep going, keep fighting. So that's a strong work ethic, I would say for sure.
Yeah, and it goes back to, I use that example of cleaning, right? But even also giving yourself grace to that, even if you don't know how to do something, find somebody that knows how to do it. You have to be
Right.
coachable, right? Coachable.
Yeah. So that brings us to number two then. So what would you say are some examples of how you have demonstrated a strong work ethic, either in the past or currently?
When I was in the military, being a department head, you have to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the admit, I didn't deploy, but I had to ensure that those that I service were administratively deployable. So,
Right.
you're familiar with a family readiness officer. That was what I did. And anytime
Wow.
that I had to I had to go.
You were busy.
I
Yeah,
look,
that's
I
fair.
had to go. I had to be informed. I had to make sure, but even when I was on the fleet surgical team, just being ready, as well in the event that some natural disaster happened that we're going to get called upon to go and assist, or if
Sure.
there was a conflict that we needed to go and assist with too. So that's just, one example, and just keeping up to date on like the quality of information that you also are putting out too, right? Making sure that you're putting out quality information.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I think too, something you don't give yourself credit for is a testament of your work ethic is your retirement. I mean, in the military, there are so many things you have to do just to get to that point. I mean, retirement, is 20 years plus in the military, but there's so many little kind of you more than just checks in the box, right? I mean, but it's your performance that gets you there over the years that you are excelling. So, you and I have that, we were both able to retire successfully from careers in the military. And I think you just can't like just wave a wand at that. I mean, that shows some work ethic there because not everybody's able to do that. I mean, make it to the 20-year mark, but also to retire. I mean, that's a really big deal. So I'd
That's
say,
a like thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that up because you are so right. We do glaze over that, and you have to have good work ethic in order to continue to get the projects, to get the
mhm,
performance, to get the promotion.
that's right. That's right.
So if you didn't have good work ethics, they wouldn't have given those things to us for us to be able to stay the course, to be eligible to retire, right?
Absolutely.
Or continue to go, right?
Right. That's a testament of what you've done. And I think for me too, I mean, besides like in the, past saying, those are things that I've done, but also just now a testament of my work ethic. And sometimes I forget about it, but is like being an author.
Right.
Because that's work ethic, right? Having to be diligent about writing and to finish a book. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm working on my book. I'm working on my book. I really want to finish this book. And then, that's a testament of work ethic to actually finish a project, whatever that may be, right? Your lifelong uh, dream or whatever it is. So, I mean, that I have, actually published books as an author. So I think that's testament of strong work ethic to finish what you started. And that's what you brought up before. Your work ethic is, being a person of your word and finishing and not quitting that we talked about. So question number three, how do you give and receive feedback? So that's so important in our work ethic too, to keep going and, you know, how do you give it and how do you receive feedback?
So, in this before, it's like in the military, I would verbalize feedback, but I always follow it up for that way that whatever I gave feedback on, they have that to reference so that they can then utilize it as a tool in order to do whatever it to perform the function or the
Okay.
job that I was providing the feedback for. Does that, you know what I mean? That they can use that
Right.
as
So teaching
a
them.
tool. It's a teaching tool, right?
Right.
So, you know, I like to provide the feedback in a caring, like, hey, do you understand? Like, right? Because, check for understanding. And if you don't understand, then hey, please let me know, and then we can walk through this, right?
Right.
But if you just don't open up and communicate that and then you just go forth and then just still did something wrong, then like, or you didn't do
Yeah.
it the way that I asked you to do it or the way that it needed to be done, then that's where the frustration comes in.
Yeah.
Me and also not sugarcoating it, right? Like, do not sugarcoat. Feedback is not gonna like feedback is there for a purpose, and so it 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 has to be it cannot be sugarcoated. Like, you
Mm.
have to be able to give that constructive criticism in order to get that person to the next level that they are trying to go in, or to get
Yeah.
that project to the next level. So
Right.
Me, I just look, tell me how, just give it to me. I mean, I have thick skin, so
Okay.
written, oral, immediately,
Mm,
we've been through,
nice.
going through boot
Right.
camp, you were given immediate feedback, push-up
Sure.
position. If you ain't do something right, push-up position, right? Like,
Right.
so you, again,
Right.
um,
Sure.
so but in a caring way, right? So
Right.
in a positive way where it comes off and it releases those hormones that put you in a happy
Yeah.
place
Sure.
instead of a negative place.
Yeah.
So unless it's feedback that is needs to be given because it's life or death, that's
Yeah.
different. Then you
Yeah.
got to
That's like emergency feedback. Yeah. That
yeah,
needs to be
now
quick
that's
and
different.
abrupt.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
But if it's just, if it's not life or death,
Sure.
emergency stuff, then give it in a caring way because then the person is going to be able to receive it.
Yeah.
And that's vice versa.
Yeah. Well, I like how you put it to me one time about feedback was you know helping a friend out or fixing her crown. And that helped me kind of consider feedback, right? I mean, the intention behind your feedback is so important, right? It's to elevate another person, to help them to succeed. And I think when I'm giving feedback, I try to consider that kind of concept of, sandwiching your feedback, they say, right? So you give them something good, then you give them what the element is they need to work on, and then you give them another good piece after it. So that's called like that sandwich technique. For myself, I think constructive criticism, that's something like I worked on quite a bit to be able to, accept it, but also sit with it. Because there's that saying out there that says feedback is a gift, but it's like, what kind of gift is that? Like, do you really want to unwrap it sometimes? So I think for me, what I've worked on is really just listening to the feedback. And then there's this great concept I learned with doing a lot of organizational development work is this just saying, tell me more about that, right? And that way, before you just jump in, you're like denying whatever it is or getting defensive, it gives you a chance to just think and then listen to the person kind of explain it from their point of view because they might say it again in a different way and you can maybe understand it better. So I've tried to use that technique now when I'm receiving feedback. So it gives me like an extra beat to kind of wait and listen to whatever someone's saying a little bit better.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So number four is how do you keep yourself updated and informed about your industry or your field?
The
So
best
keep that strong work ethic.
Yeah, the best gift that you can give yourself is professional and personal development. So I just got
Right.
back from a conference and
Nice.
it's called Feminine and Rich. And it was a holistic approach, something very different than some of the conferences that I've gone to before. But but yeah, so some of the industry leaders were there that I could relate to. Like there are a lot of people out there, a
Hmm.
lot of voices out there that you can listen to. And we have so many voices out there, that you
Right.
just, oh my gosh, you feel overwhelmed. There's certain, and then there's other voices out there that don't have it from the perspective of being a woman and the things that we go
Yeah.
through, our hormonal changes, right? Like we have to like embrace that. Like embrace
Right.
it. We're different.
Sure.
So how we, what I'm saying? Like, so just reading, going to conferences, stay connected, and yeah, those are my
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, absolutely. I like where you were going with that. I thought you were going to say, sometimes we listen to the wrong voices. And I think for sure, and I talk about this in my book, Keeping Score, and wanting to chase, what success is. But first, you need a definition of success, right? And all the goats out there, that's kind of where their heads are and have been, is they want to be the best. They're going to study who has been the best. What is the best person in their field doing or their industry doing? So if you are wanting to chase success, then that's the same things that you should be doing. You know, look at the top 10 people in your field and find out what they're doing. What kind of conferences are they going to? What kind of books do they read? What kind of, you know, things are they interested in, and just find out, get in synergy with that. Because the people to your left and your right, they don't have the same dreams and goals as you. And if you're just hanging around those same people, you're not going to be elevated. You're not going to be going chasing your dreams. So it's important in terms of your work ethic that you are staying in tune and on top of your game for your industry and your field. So I would say like reading those journal articles, depending what field you're in, of course, but going to the conferences, like you said, of course, Charmin, but also investing in yourself, like a master class or, somebody that you really admire, just asking them, hey, can I interview you? I want to find out, hey, how did you get to where you are? A lot of people want to talk about themselves, so it's an easy way to do it.
That's a good
So,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
like create your dream 100, right? One of my business
right.
coaches always talk about dream 100, like finding the dream 100 and then just, like you said, finding out, looking at their YouTube pages. Like, oh, that's another one too, right? So I look at YouTube, I do podcasts. I mean, there is so much information out there that, I listen to books on Audible.
Yep,
Again, I went down a instead of buying the books, I just bought the Audible, and that way I can listen to them instead of like, because I don't think I have any
yep.
more room to put
Very
any.
mobile. You can study wherever you are. So, and
Exactly.
that's what we've been talking to you about. We're here every 2 weeks. We're giving you information. And because if you don't use it,
And
you'll
you
lose
lose
it.
it.
So ignite your goat mentality. You can find us at the social media sites at Dr. Karen Walker Official, or you can find us at Success After Discharge if you want to link up with our Ignite coach, Sharman Jacobs. So thank you so much for your time. We hope to see you again.
Have a great one.